Commence meeting.
Look at yourself in the mirror, turn that frown upside down. Show what you're working with. You can't depend on someone else to see your future. That part is up.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are watching us. My name is Ramon Lowe. I'm the Director of Membership and Industry Engagement for the Airport Minority Advisory Council. And you are here because this is Ricky's show, Legends and Leapers. We do this once a month. It is our virtual series where we bring on an industry legend and an industry leaper and kind of compare their paths in their careers, both personal and professional, to see where there are some overlaps and where there's some distinctions. So before I hand it over to Ricky and Lauryn, just a couple of housekeeping items that I want to bring to your attention. Number one, membership renewal. We will be starting October 1st. We'll begin our renewals for 2026. So thank you to all of you who have signed up for the auto renewal option in your membership. And for those of you not still looking to do the manual option, remember, October 1st is when we start sending out notices with regards to your renewals. Renew your national membership, renew your chapter membership. I see in the room we have some chapter members and chapter officers. Ms. Lori Ballard, president of our Detroit chapter, is here. So please make sure you keep an eye out for those renewal notices. Secondarily, and related to that, please make sure you make an effort to fill out all the your complete member profile. The reason for that is we take all that information, it gets populated into our membership directory, which is a benefit for all of our members. So you want to make sure that you are found within that member directory. We had a member just ask us fairly recently, actually yesterday, they wanted to work with someone in the marketing and they wanted to hire someone for some marketing services and wanted to go first with an AMAC member, and they found them through that directory. Actually, after we directed them to that. So please make sure you go into your member profile and enter in as much information as you can, because again, that fills in our membership directory. And last but not least, if you were not aware, She Soars Women in Aviation Summit. It's in about a little over 2 weeks with our wonderful partners, Mr. Ricky Smith, our GM and chairman of the board, our wonderful partners at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Women in Aviation is going to be taking place September 18th and 19th in Atlanta. If you have not yet registered, please make sure you do so. You go to amac-org.com/WIAS. From there, you can see the agenda, look at all the wonderful speakers we have. You can still reserve a sponsorship if you want to support the event and AMAC and Atlanta, and also register. We did extend the room block by a couple days, and you want to make sure that you take advantage of that because we do sell out really quickly. So once again, Women in Aviation Summit, it is September 18th and 19th, and thank you to our friends at ATL. And that is pretty much from me, because you want to hear from Ricky and Lauryn. Folks, it is now your show. Thank you.
You know what, Ramon, I'm crazy about you. It finally, it took 4 men to be on the show against 1 lady for there to be acknowledgement that this is my show. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now, I'm sure when she gets the mic, she's going to try to correct all of that, and she probably will, knowing who she is. I'm sure she'll come back. But thank you, Ramon. I appreciate that. So welcome to Legends and Leapers. Some of you have been here before. For some of you, this may be the first time. So I'll bore you with this kind of intro. So what we try to do is to try to find someone who's been around for a while, someone who's probably a little more established in their career, and we call that person a legend. And we pair that person with someone who maybe new to the industry, new to the career, still emerging, still trying to find him or her way in their career to some degree. And we call that person a leaper. We kind of made up the word leaper. I think if you look in the dictionary and you look up leaper, probably doesn't mean somebody young. It probably means somebody that's jumping or something. So anyway, we don't tell them the questions in advance. That's part of the charm of this show. But you know, Lauryn and I, mostly me, but Lauryn and I, we do try to ask some very good questions to provoke them into giving thought-provoking answers or thoughtful answers. And in the past, we've been somewhat successful at that. We'll see how it goes today. But Lauryn is going to do the part that's kind of mundane. It's kind of easy. We give her stuff to read. She does the introduction, and we got to give her something to do. And so with that, Lauryn, I'll give you your tiny piece of the show.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. We all know the reason that I read the bios is because only one of us is literate. So with that being said, I'm so excited for this Legends and Leaper. The Leaper today is Loycent Gordon. I don't know why these Leapers keep sending us these short bios, because they know they're doing big things in the industry. But our Leaper is the owner and CEO of Historic Neir's Tavern in Queens, New York's oldest bar, multi-JV investor in JFK Concessions, opening in 2026. The Tavern's multi-licensor 2026 co-founder, NYC ACDBE Advocacy Group, former FDNY lieutenant, champion for small and minority-owned historic businesses. Our legend, which I don't think he needs any introduction, unlike Ricky Smith, is K. Hezekiah Harris. If you don't know what the K stand for, it's the King, okay? Hezekiah Harris, the second best dressed man in show business, is the president and managing member of CMTS LLC, a second generation nationally recognized program and construction management firm with over 40 years of success. Under his leadership, CMTS has completed projects totaling more than $40 billion in construction value and currently operates across 8 states, including 8 major U.S. airports. Having grown up in the industry, Mr. Harris brings deep expertise in capital improvement programs, construction management, quality assurance, and DBE utilization. He has personally managed or overseen more than $22 million in airport improvements at Stapleton, Denver International, and Dallas-Fort Worth International airports. He has been instrumental in the firm's growth in the aviation sector, having overseen the delivery of over $12 billion, that's with a B, Ricky, in aviation projects. His background also includes extensive work in operational risk, fire protection systems, and facility condition assessment. A military veteran, Mr. Harris served on active duty before transitioning into the private sector. He is known as a subject matter expert in the areas of minority business development, diversity and inclusion, and business operations. His dedication to public infrastructure and equitable opportunity is reflected in his longstanding service with the Airport Minority Advisory Council, where he has been an active member for over 30 years. Mr. Harris is also affiliated with several professional organizations, including the Airport Council International, Conference of Minority Transportation Officials, and the Regional Black Contractors Association. Committed to CMTS's mission, improving lives and communities one infrastructure project at a time, Mr. Harris continues to lead with a vision for excellence, inclusion, and sustainable impact in private and public infrastructure development. Hezekiah is an avid golfer, the eldest of 7 children, and a father to 5 beautiful daughters, and grandfather to 6, 4 grandsons, and 2 granddaughters. Ooh, Ricky, you could never. And I'm more so referring to reading everything that I just read. But thank you both. Thank you both so much. We are super excited to get this party started, because I know, since I'm the lone representative of the women, I might get beat up on this call, but I know Loycent has my back as the leaper. So let's go, Ricky. You got this.
All right. Well, thank you for handling the easiest part of the show, Lauryn. It's much appreciated. But in the theme of you riding solo as a woman, why don't I try this first question for you, Hez, and you, Loycent. So there is not a woman on the panel this time. Well, not a guest anyway. From your experience, Hez, obviously you have a lot of experience with women, young women, daughters. Can you speak to how, as a man, you can bring or represent the interests or the perspective of women to this discussion?
I need to do 2 things. One, I will never allow that bio to be sent again without me looking at it. You were reading for way too long, Lauryn. Second, I guess I operate from an interesting perspective in that while I'm the oldest of seven, I have three sisters who are very, very have played an important part in my life, and then being a father of five daughters. And oh, by the way, my leadership team is 3/4 female as well. So I get all that I need from a female perspective in the people that I trust for guidance and perspective, simply because of the people I'm surrounded with.
All right. You have a perspective, Loycent?
Yeah, I think it's important to just remember that perspective counts. The very idea of AMAC is about adding a different perspective to the airport professional environment. And so it's important to remember, let's make space for female, because they have a different perspective that oftentimes can add so much value. We could be circling ourselves, and it takes that person that's coming from a different perspective to actually change the game. And I'll tell you that example now is that I've been looking for a really good general manager in my restaurant after I lost the first one that I had, and moved on to some bigger, better things. And I went through a bunch of different men, just so happened that way. And I tell you right now, the person who's rocking it is this female. She is just a bulldog. And it's not like I'm looking at gender. It's just that, wow, like, well, she happens to be a woman. And so I make sure that we create space so that all genders have an opportunity to shine, to show their perspective. And I love that opportunity to do that. And if you look at my mom, who, at 19, she had me, I can't have any more respect than any gender than the women population, because I mean, she's just really, just done so much for me. And I look at all women the same way. They're amazing. We need them. And they add so much to the business environment and family environment too.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So, Hez, you're second generation. Company is second generation, and I don't think that's the case with you, Loycent, right? Your company is not second generation, right? So on this one, you may be on the outside looking in, but I still want to hear your perspective. So Hez, most people might look at that and think that's only plus, there are only opportunities, that there's only good associated with that. Can you speak to any challenges and in some cases opportunities that you've realized as the kind of the second generation leader of your family's company?
Well, the first one and earliest on was, quite honestly, I ran from this opportunity for a number of years. As a matter of fact, I even left Denver, Colorado to get out from under what was then the shadow of my father, because I was never Hezekiah, I was always King's son, which from my perspective, I was always standing on what he had done and had not created. I had to go somewhere else and make my own bones, bottom line. And as you know, Ricky, I probably wouldn't be living in Denver today had it not been for my new wife, who said, we live in Denver. And I said, okay. I was doing just fine in Texas. But so that is the downside of it. You're never, for a while, quite honestly, I took over the company in 2000. And from 2000 until about 2007, I struggled internally with what people might call imposter syndrome. Is this really my doing? But then I got to the point where I had more offices and more staff and was doing more top line than he was doing. So then when we celebrated our anniversary a couple of years ago, I reminded him that I've now been running this company longer than he did. And so that that helped me step into my own space and feel much better about it.
Okay. That's cool. Outside looking in, Loycent?
I mean, I don't, this is my first, generation entering into the airport space. And so, yes, definitely a different perspective. But, you also have to think about, okay, can I build something for the next generation? Can I truly create a foundation so that the next generation, my son, can actually have something to continue on? And so, that's one of the pressures now, right? I have an opportunity, but what are we going to do with it to think about the next generation? And that pressure is literally sitting on my back. And so, if you think about, what I have here, right? I own New York City's oldest tavern. It's been operating 195 years old. Every time someone comes to me, it's like, oh, your son, he's going to take it over, right? And it's like, I can't control someone, right? I don't know what these kids are going to do the next generation. All I could do is try to set up a foundation in such a way that it's easier for him to say, yeah, I want to be part of it. To try to become, a leader in such a way that he says, yeah, I want to continue this legacy. Oftentimes, a lot of these, they say right now, the baby boomers are retiring and their kids are not taking over. So you have all of these businesses that's just kind of lying there, or they're just really selling like really cheap. And so it's like, well, that's not what they intended it to be. They wanted to pass on. So my perspective is like, okay, how do I change that narrative, right? So this is the monkey on my back right now. And especially us, the Black and Brown community, it's like, we need this. We need the next generation to build upon what we've already created, the sacrifices, the late nights, at the AMAC conferences that we have, which was so much fun. So, that is just my perspective when it comes to that very question about the next generation.
So my question, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit, Ricky, because Loycent just said something that made me redirect where I was going. Hezekiah talked about how he literally ran from standing on his father's shoulders, right? And I won't even say standing on his father's shoulders, but he ran from the legacy that had been created. And then Loycent, you are now in striving to create a legacy for your son.
Right.
Hezekiah, what was the turning point for you, besides your wife saying, look, we moving back to Denver, but what was the turning point for you where you realized, you know what, this isn't something to run from, but this is actually a blessing that I'm going to walk into?
What I had always thought of it as an opportunity. But one of the things, I had an opportunity to spend about 6 weeks at a Families in Business seminar at Harvard. In preparation for this transition.
Don't you ever confused Howard
with Harvard?
Harvard.
Wait, hold on, Ricky, I just need to say this. I paid for somebody to go to Howard. Okay.
Yeah.
I got paid to go to Harvard.
Okay.
both exuding excellence, nonetheless.
Yes. And I always knew it was an opportunity. I always knew that it was something that I wanted to do. But as I stated a little earlier, that suffering from imposter syndrome, not being clear that I was truly ready or prepared to take that on, the thing that helped me the most was the conversation I had with my father in 2000 when he said, I have something else to do. Are you going to come run this business or do I need to sell it? My response was, I'll come run it only if you sell it to me. Because growing up as a kid, you fired me 12 or 13 times. Now, I probably deserved it 10 or 11, but not all 13. Okay. And quite honestly, I was in Dallas doing the exact same business under my own flag. So that time in Dallas gave me the understanding that I had the appropriate foundation to run the business. But going back to that Harvard conversation was 50% of businesses fail in the transition from first generation to second generation. The primary reason is because the founder can't keep their spoon out the Kool-Aid. Okay. And it just so happens that my father had a whole separate life to go do. As many of you know, he went back to school at 65 and got a double master's in divinity and theology and went to pastor a church, which meant he didn't have time to be messing with what I was doing. And I am convinced that that was a key pillar in the success of that transition, and also expanded the opportunities to grow for me. That's
Spoon in the Kool-Aid is going to be in my head for the rest of the day.
I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it.
Love that.
So in Loycent, now that you just heard Hezekiah say that, what, and I understand, not trying to control your son's path, right? And I feel like you look at other cultures and other countries, and they pretty much have already designated and planned their children's future and spoke it into existence, and like, this is the direction that you're going. And I know that we tend to say, you know what, because we're unlearning things, right? We tend to say, hey, I don't want to control this. I want you to kind of create your own path, etc. But hearing Hezekiah say that, and just kind of what you're already doing with your son now, how does that, in your mind, how are you going to create opportunities, or how are you going to try to ease him in to stepping into this legacy?
I think we could put the framework around it. It's always going to be ultimately their decision. But what I'm already doing now, obviously just trying to, build a brand in the airport space and off the, just so many different ways right now, is that I'm taking him with me. Like throughout this summer, oftentimes he's with me, right? I was when you saw me in the park there, just came from a thing with the mayor, and he was with me. And so he took a picture with the mayor of New York City, and he's like hanging out. And then I remember we went to the restaurant, and we went there a couple of times, and he was like serving people and doing things like that. And I was having a meeting, and I stopped the meeting, we finished, and I was getting ready to leave. And I was like, come on, Evan, let's go. And the guy sitting at the bar said, can I tell you something? I said, what is it? He said, he came behind the bar and started, he was pouring, not beer, he was pouring soda. And he said, this kid, he came behind the bar and he looked at me like I was, accusing me or something. And he says, this kid said, don't worry, I'm the co-owner. Right? Like, no, I'm sorry, the sub-owner. He said, I'm the sub-owner. Sub-owner. And I was like, he said, what? He's like, yeah. So sometimes, it's not about forcing the kids or this. Sometimes it's just having them with you and seeing the difference that you're making, the people you're interacting with, how much you're giving and supporting. Even when we do our block party, he's there. Everybody's saying happy birthday to him. So he feels like he's part of the family. When we do, Thanksgiving food drives and give out hundreds and hundreds of food to people, he's there, he's seeing that. So I think it's just a matter of exposing to him. And as human beings, we want to help, and we want to continue helping people. Not so much, I want to own this business, but if this is a path or a vehicle to continue building and helping people, I think that's the higher purpose that will pull people into that. Because think about it, how many different type of businesses are out there? They're all vehicles to help people, right? So it could be, you know, CMTS, or it could be a retail store, whatever. They're all vehicles to help people. We just do it through, you know, selling products and services. But at the end of the day, we use some of that profit to actually help, and we invest in a lot of money back into the community, especially now with a couple opportunities coming. Like, wow, we could actually help more and expand more and help the local community. So if he sees that, I would hope any normal individual that has that, you know, that need to help, we all do, is going to be part of that next generation.
I'm
So-
I'm personally taking notes, so thank you, because him saying that I'm the sub owner, you're whatever you're doing it right, clearly. So that's absolutely awesome.
It killed me. I was like, what he said? Sub owner. First, is that a thing, or co-owner? I guess sub owner. You understand he's not there yet.
Put that kid on payroll.
That's a new term. That'll stick with me too, sub owner.
Sub owner and spoon in the Kool-Aid.
Spoon in the Kool-Aid. All right. So you know, we often, both of you are leaders, right? We often, when we think about politicians, elected officials who have to master the art of compromising in order to get stuff done, sometimes, you know, we accuse them of compromising their principles, right? Or, you know, what they're supposed to stand for. Can both of you talk about a situation where your principles were on the line, where you might have been challenged to compromise your principles, your integrity, or whatever is important to you? I'm going to take it a step further. I think I know the answer. And can you tell us, what decision did you make? I'm sure not one of you are going to say you compromised your principles, but anyway.
I want to say this, because something, you know, again, getting into the space, you get to learn, you know, about different things and people and who the players are, and I'm still learning. And so, you know, through this whole process, you know, you have to put your brand up there, right? And people offer you different opportunities and different things, and sometimes it's not favorable. It's just like, you know, it's like, no, that's not what I intended, right? And so you have to kind of stand up and say, okay, no, you know, this is worth something to me, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. My main reason is to be able to invest back into the tavern and therefore help the community. So when someone came to me and offered me opportunity where it was, let's just say it was like zero thing, it was like this visibility thing, you know, I really was like, you know, if I think Neir's Tavern is worth something, then I should actually demand that, or at least say it's this, or we're going to have to like move on. And I had to, I went back and just think about it. And in fact, you know, we have different people in this industry now that I really call on, you know, like the Mike Washingtons of the world, and, you know, a friend like Devon Ray's become a friend, and all these different Jan Farris and all these things, and these people. And, you know, you shouldn't need to, but they remind you of, you know, who you are, and you're making the right move and stand up for yourself. Especially when you're young in this industry, it's hard to stand for yourself because they got these Goliaths out there, and you think that you're doing something wrong. And so I had to make a decision. So I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move on from this. And then it just so happened that because of that move and that consultation with some of these industry folks, I was able to land a couple license deals where it worked for everyone. I was happy with the brand. And in fact, one of them happened at AMAC, my first AMAC. And I was like, well, I'm coming here every year.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. Those who know me know that that logo is not only a triangle, but actually represents a pyramid. And the foundation of that is integrity. The left side is accountability. The right side is professionalism. I got a lesson from the outside in when I was still on active duty in the military. Many people remember the building of Denver International Airport and all that went into it. And Ricky, you've been around long enough to remember that every major capital program that happened in this country that had significant minority participation in it that was of that size, somebody ended up going to jail.
That's right.
At the end of the closeout of Denver Airport, it is not common knowledge, but they decided somebody had done something wrong in Denver, and they decided that that somebody was my father. And at one point, he was under investigation by 7 different investigative entities, including the SEC and U.S. Postal Service. And we had always operated from the foundation familially, as a family unit. You cover the ground you stand on, and you play by the rules. And you can't win if you don't know the rules. So you need to know the rules better than they do. 4.5 years later, my father received a letter from the then Attorney General of Colorado, who went on to become the governor, that said, "We apologize for all that we have caused you. None of the investigations had any merit, and you were simply a product of the system."
Wow.
That shaped how I do business. That was my lesson. And if you do it right, you will always come out on top, even though it's painful. There may be pain associated with doing it right, but if you do it right, you can sleep well at night. And I had an example. My personal example was some work that we were selected to do in Washington, D.C. And they wanted us to do things that were outside the confines of the contract. And didn't want to amend the contract to reflect that. And I simply shared with them, I'm not interested in being on the front page of the Washington Post. And unless you're willing to amend the contract to reflect what you are asking me to do, we simply won't do the work, and you can find somebody else to do it. So,
Wow.
there you go.
Two powerful stories.
Ricky, man, you asked some questions, brother. You are amazing. And thank
Wait a
you.
minute. Wait,
Whoa.
okay, you know what? Thank you. There you go. Another male perspective.
Let's not get too crazy now, guys. I mean, come on.
That's great.
I'm sitting here just with my jaw dropped. I know thank you, Ebony. Ebony said I'm amazing too, in all caps.
Ebony.
Makiva said that made her heart drop, and I have to wholeheartedly agree. And it kind of segues into this next point. August is Black Business Month, if you guys didn't know. And Black Business Month recognizes the resilience and economic contributions of Black-owned businesses in the United States. This was established in 2004. Just aim to highlight businesses, promote their growth, advocate for policies, support them, and it just serves as a crucial opportunity to support Black entrepreneurs and foster economic equity by patronizing Black-owned businesses, spreading the word, and advocating for policy changes. So, with that being said, we typically have a diverse thought, right? And different backgrounds on Legends and Leapers. But because it is August, we have 2 Black-owned businesses. With everything that's going on right now, I want you guys to tell me how important it is to stay steadfast in what it is that you're doing, and also creating more opportunities for people to follow in your footsteps as far as creating more Black entrepreneurs.
Hezekiah, you want to go first?
Sure. My tagline as an organization is improving lives and communities, one infrastructure project at a time. I know that I was blessed to have seen entrepreneurship going on around me from the very beginnings of my life. And you know, people still ask me, there are Black people in Denver? Yes, there are Black people in Denver. And when I was growing up, it was a very, very tight-knit community that was almost self-contained. And so I had the benefit of that. I had the benefit of watching my father grow into that and do what he did. And it was only until I moved somewhere else that I realized that that was uncommon. You know, but I tell people this all the time. I even tell this to owners when we are talking to them about what we do. I am in the business of creating opportunity. I am not an architect. I am not an engineer. I hire architects and engineers to do what we need to do. I'm in the business of creating opportunities. And those opportunities are for young people in the communities that we work in to see that whatever it is you want to do, there's an avenue by which you can do it. And please don't, this may come out wrong, but the young sisters seem to get it a whole lot sooner than the young brothers. And so that has been a shift in my personal focus to turn the lights on for the young brothers in the communities that we're doing business in. And I figure I got another 10 years of good hard work before your buddy Victor gets to sit in the chair and be part of these conversations. But that's my focus, is about creating opportunities. Now, and then there's one other thing that I am very, very upfront with people and sharing with them. The day that your success is more important to me than it is to you, we're going to have to rethink what our relationship really is. And so I hope that answers your question, but that's kind of how I operate.
Wow, that's a good one.
You know, we on a number of occasions we've asked the question, and Lauryn and I try not to recycle questions, but we asked the question, what is your superpower?
So you're not gonna let Loycent answer my question?
So my superpower is remembering that there's a second question, and giving the panel member an opportunity to think about his answer.
Love it.
Thanks, Lauryn.
I keep it short. 'Cause that was already a powerful answer. Hezekiah is really knocking it out of the park. But I think it's important for me. I'm not the type to go out there and pull people in. They always say you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Sometimes you have groups for that. Come on, kid, come on, let's go. But I kind of operate in the space where I hope the things that you see that I'm doing, the work that I'm accomplishment, would allow you to come and say, hey, how can I do that? Because I think that's much better. And that means someone is ready to learn, right? They're ready to take action. And so if you look at, listen, I'm out there, I own New York City's oldest tavern. People are like, this black kid owned New York City's oldest tavern when, not even 100 years ago, probably 50 or 60 years ago, I probably wouldn't be allowed to be in there, right? And oftentimes people inbox me or send me messages and they find that is ironic, right? They find that is weird. That is something that, wait a minute, maybe I can own whatever I want. I don't have to own the fried chicken spot because I'm from the South. I don't have to own the jerk chicken spot because I'm Jamaican. Yeah, you can, but just know that there's a wealth of opportunities out there, because if I could own a place that I probably wouldn't be allowed to be in right now, then you could do whatever you can. And so I kind of go out there and I just, hopefully people see and hear and say, all right, I could do that. And like even right recently, I was on an advocacy call and someone said, hey, can we talk? And great, he owned a dental practice. The black man owned this dental practice in the Bronx. And I said, great. So we set up a time and we're going to talk next week, Friday. And so people sometimes are ready to receive the information, and that's where I kind of come in and say, all right, let's build, let's get to work. This is what I know, because I'm just not in the business of dragging you along if you're not ready yet.
Thank you. My co-host had a question. This is your turn now, Ricky.
So, how did I start before? So Lauryn and I have learned not to recycle questions. And so a question that we've asked in the past is around your superpower. What is your superpower? And you guys, last night, 3 o'clock in the morning, when you were sitting up wondering what we were going to ask you, that was probably what you thought. They're going to ask me about superpower. But I'm not. I'm going to ask you, what is your kryptonite?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's the thing that probably hurts me the most, and I guess some way helped me the most as well. It's that sometimes I help too much. I pour out of empty cup, and it's not good all the time. You also have to remember to fill your cup. And so that's been one of my Achilles heels, is learning when to say, no, I can't do it right now because I just want to help. But at the other side of it, that's the very reason why I own New York City's oldest tavern, because I just wanted to help. I wanted to help. This place was days from closing. It was in the local community. I'm like, someone's going to do something, right? And then it got days down. I'm like, no one is. And so I was like, okay, I'll help. And so I jumped in and helped and learned how to run a bar and restaurant. And, here we are. We have one of the only restaurants in America to have a street named after it, and all these things. And I'm like, you know what? It is a superpower, but at times you have to remember to refill your cup. And I try my best to remember that, so that I could give more when I'm in a better space. So I think that's one of my weakness, but sometimes it accomplishes good things like this, right?
You know what? There's a career in politics in your future. You know that, right?
I hope not, because they all somehow get brought down or get people investigated for no reason. So I'm out of that.
Hezekiah, hurry before he asks another question. Answer that one.
Oh, my kryptonite. I have to say that people either love me or they just don't like me, because I have a tendency to say what is on my mind. And sometimes my filter does not quite filter enough.
What
Uh,
filter? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to do what filter?
What filter? Look, his filter is a colander with holes this big. Ain't nothing going through there. Everything's going through there.
That's a good one.
But you know, I say what's on my mind, and I am passionate about. If I'm in it, I'm in it. And if I'm not, don't ask me to be in it, because wait, I just don't. I'm just not. And so again, my kryptonite is probably the fact that there are times, I don't do it as often as I used to, but there are times when people are offended by my straightforward delivery. And I'm sorry, I'm just Joe Friday. Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
Well, Hez, you did marry up, so you are a better man than you were.
Thank you. Maxine will greatly appreciate that compliment.
Well, Ricky, I know you didn't ask, but my kryptonite is online shopping.
Online shopping.
Yeah, it'll be the death of me. I don't even see the money go anywhere. Just click, check out. And
Yeah,
it just
mine is gadgets
gadgets.
that I buy online. Yes.
Okay. For someone that's not very technological savvy, that's very interesting. We'll have to talk more about this, unpack it a bit more.
You know what? That was a soft moment we were sharing, and you had to.
Oh, you're being vulnerable. I'm so sorry. I meant that in the most vulnerable. See, Hezekiah, you're rubbing off on me. Sugar coating is my kryptonite.
Yeah, take that spoon out of the Kool-Aid.
Even Nick said, Ricky, Inspector Gadget, I had no idea. Everyone is on here shocked. Let's talk about transparency and honesty, since Ricky's lying to everybody. No, but I digress.
Yes.
All right. So we all know what's happening in our country right now. I kind of want to stay here as far as entrepreneurship. We all know what's happening in our country right now. We see the attacks not just on Black people and Black businesses. We see them on all minorities, right? Of every shape, creed, the whole nine. What can or are you doing in the spaces that you're in right now and I know we talked about creating opportunities, but what can or are you doing, and even what advice would you give in the spaces that you're in right now, especially Hezekiah? You know, you have a lot of framework, right? You saw this through your dad dealing with these challenges. So probably a lot of this is nothing new to you. Loycent, on the other hand, this is probably new to him from an entrepreneurial standpoint. What can we be doing to counteract and combat what's going on, to almost guarantee that we can continue to be successful, not just now, but Hezekiah, your nephew, Victor, your kids, your grandkids, and Loycent, you as well. What can we be doing as a people? What can we be doing as entrepreneurs, et cetera, to really combat and counteract what's going on, to continue and just ensure that we do have success in the future for all those opportunities that you guys are trying to create?
I think, first of all, Lauryn, I mean, no jokes aside, all jokes aside, I think is a really, really important question.
You hear that, Ricky? It's an important question.
It's really,
I heard that.
but I mean, listen, I'm the executive board member of New York City Hospitality Alliance. We represent thousands of restaurants throughout New York City. And I also work on digital privacy laws and things like that. And so I kind of help wherever I can lend my voice. And the main thing is, between all that, is to contact your congressional members. And even if you think about AMAC specifically, now I thought about it, is that I was at the conference, the political conference they had in the spring, right? I mean, things like that is truly, truly important, because sometimes these leaders or political leaders have no clue how much you're hurting and how much these policies are affecting you. And so when you're in their face and said, I'm Loycent, I own this historic tavern, and you are killing me, man. You know, this law and this ACDB thing that you're starting to stomp on, it really is erasing the opportunities for us, and you're setting us back. So, you know, that's one thing. We also contributed an op-ed, right? And we do this annual Road to 200 block party. Essentially, we invite the entire community out. We have 400 or 500 people out. And you know what I do? I make sure I invite every elected leader that's in my area. My Congress, we had Gregory Meeks there last year with Congresswoman Nydia Lavasquez was there, city council members, all that. Not because I just want them to be there, because I would hope they feel the hurt when something happens and I say, hey man, this is hurting us, right? And so if we, you know, create these spaces for our elected leaders to connect with us, whether you have to go to Capitol Hill like it did with AMAC, or you have to invite them at your own business or to have a sit down, have a lunch. These are the things that I continue to do to make sure that, you know, Black, brown business and all small businesses have an opportunity to speak their voice, because we tend to have the smallest voice, although we hire the most people nationally.
From my perspective, we've got to start with the foundations, okay? If you are a business person, if you aspire to be a business person, you need to make sure that you are prepared for, let me just say, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, okay? And I know many, many people that are great technicians. They are great at what they do. But being great at what you do is not enough to run a business. Surround yourself with people that know the things that you don't. There are way too many people in our business there are way too many people that are business owners that are great technicians. But if you can't bill your clients on time every month and collect your money, no matter how good you are at making widgets, you can't buy the parts to make widgets. Surround yourself with people that can help your business be a real business is the first part. While you're doing that, building those relationships in the community with your legislative folks, your political folks, all those things are important. They need to see you as an individual as well as seeing the organization that you represent. And while you're doing that, at least what I would recommend or what I would suggest is, I believe that a great deal of the success that we've been able to garner is because we do it for the passion of doing it and connecting people and ensuring that we're doing something to make a difference in people's lives. Even in this climate, okay? All that happens in Washington happens in Washington. All politics is still local. So if you build those local relationships, I've said this on more than one occasion, I wholeheartedly believe this country has survived as long as it has. When this term is done, our democracy will be bruised. It will be battered, but it will not be broken. And so we've got to ensure that we're operating from the foundations of what this democracy is truly about. and are building the relationships to we're going to have to rebuild some things after this is done. But we need to be prepared. We need to be looking at the world from that perspective. How do we rebuild those things? And some of the things that are being broken have passed their time.
That was a remarkable response. Earlier, Lauryn used the word transparency. And in the spirit of transparency, my good friend has, most people on this call will never see you the way you are again. So in the spirit of transparency, please put your hat on. Brother, please put your hat on.
That's weird without it.
Let us see you for who you really are.
In the spirit of transparency, here I am.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Keep just listening to the voice on record.
Well, I
Bring
think
there you
Lauryn
go.
locked up.
Yeah, there you go, Ramon. Please save us from ourselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much to the panelists. Thank you to Ricky and Lauryn. And I got to go back into the web chat because maybe there's going to be a time where I think Laura Rubio just posted in the chat that we hear from Ricky and Lauryn as the Legend Leaper and kind of like, turn the tables on that. Maybe down the road we'll do something like that for each and every one of you. So thank you again to Hezekiah and Loycent for lending your time here at Legends and Leapers. Thank you again to Ricky and Lauryn for hosting. I do want to go back and reiterate at the top of the hour some of the announcements from National Office. One, remember, we will be beginning our membership renewal period in October, so keep an eye out for all the notices on that. If you have not already joined a chapter, please make sure you do so. I see a lot of chapter officers, Estella from LA, Thalia and Ms. Rhonda from our news chapter, Houston. So make sure you join one of our 8 chapters that are up and running and doing all sorts of great programming and outreach in their communities. And last but not least, I'll say it again, please make sure you register for the She Soars Women in Aviation Summit, September 18th and 19th. You can go to amac-org.com/WIAS, and there you can read the latest on the agenda. If you're still interested in a sponsorship, you can still purchase one and also register. So with that,
Ramon, buy a shirt too. There are really cool shirts this year for She Soars.
If you would like to participate in the 5K, which we are partnering with our friends at Atlanta and Ricky, please buy a shirt and join us on that 5K. It's 3 a.m. in the morning. I don't know if I'm
not running. I'm just buying a shirt in solidarity. Okay. Yeah, not running.
do like Lauryn do and just buy a shirt. But anyway, thank you to everyone, and we wish you a happy and blessed day. Take care, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.